Well, hello there and welcome. It's another edition of Conversation Collage coming to you on your podcast platform of choice. Ken Joannesen here at your service, and hope you're doing well in this, how do you say, pandemic? We can't call it post-pandemic world yet, I don't think, but maybe at some point in the near future we can say that maybe if we're not over this yet, we're getting over it. Although where I am in Wenatchee-Wa, USA, the rates of infection are increasing. As of early May, they say it is spreading faster in this area than in Western Washington, where this whole thing seems to have begun. Anyway, hope you're doing well and are staying healthy and are ready for a conversation or two, because we've got one for you here. I'm holding in my hands a book called Animalkind, Remarkable Discoveries About Animals and Revolutionary New Ways to Show Them Compassion. It is written by Gene Stone and also by Ingrid Newkirk, who founded People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. You know it as PETA. And not too long ago, we checked in with Ingrid Newkirk and found out about Animalkind and about what she's been up to. Ms. Newkirk, hello. How are you?
Hello.
Where are you? Are you in D.C.?
I'm in Norfolk, Virginia, on the Elizabeth River.
Ah, okay. So, but you're in the, I don't know, is that near D.C.? I'm not sure where Norfolk is.
Well, if you drive really quickly, it's 3 hours and 15 minutes from our D.C. office to our Norfolk office.
Okay, well, that gives me an idea right there if you drive quickly. Anyway, well, nice to have you on board here. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Animalkind is the new book. Tell me about it. What gave you the idea to write it along with Gene Stone, your co-author on this?
Well, thanks. Animalkind, and I'll give the subtitle. It's Animalkind, Remarkable Discoveries About Animals and Revolutionary New Ways to Show Them Compassion, which basically shows that the book is divided into two. And these days, people's interest in animals seems to have skyrocketed. We're all watching these internet videos of raccoons saving their babies from the highway and animals coming out of the woods and sitting on our lawns and all these things, bears taking a bath. And so I thought it would be really nice, because there is less interest, to commemorate PETA's 40th anniversary by writing a book that pretty much blows your mind, knocks your socks off about all the talents, the abilities, the intelligence, the communication and navigational skills of animals. And then in the second part, when you think, wow, those animals are pretty fantastic, I'm amazed. It says all the things that you might want to do in your daily life that really will make a huge difference to animals, because you might be unwittingly hurting them just because of your consumer choices. And now we've got lots more that are really decent and good.
When we get right down to it, are animals a lot like people?
Well, you know, I mean, for years, people didn't know much about animals, and they would think, oh, they can't feel as much pain, or they can't. Yes, they can. They're smart, and of course, they have the same pain receptors we do. You can look in their eyes and see fear. I mean, I've been in slaughterhouses, and I see their eyes get as big as saucers. They try to turn around. They try to flee. They can smell it. And we've now come to criticize the way we judge intelligence. Because even a little fish, there's one called the wrasse, who is known as the teeth-cleaning fish, because you can look at this on National Geographic video. She'll swim into big fish's mouth and clean out the debris between their teeth the way you would go to a dental hygienist. She can recognize herself in a mirror. And that's something that has been considered the realm of maybe chimpanzees, but human beings, tribal peoples, is that they see that image in the mirror, and if they can figure out that isn't somebody who's coming to attack them, but it's them, that's a sign of intelligence. This little fish grooms herself, preens herself in the mirror like Kim Kardashian. So, you know, how do we judge intelligence? It depends where you live, what you need to get by in the world, and all the talents that you have that maybe humans don't have that show that animals have intelligence.
I've always wondered about animals, whether they can whether they can understand what we're doing. And I've always wondered, animals have no job really except to keep itself, to sustain itself, with food. Am I right? I mean, do animals work much like we do?
No, they don't in the same way, but they are very resourceful. They're very clever. They don't have pharmacies, supermarkets, GPS, but they survive, and they live full lives, and they have interests, and they have enjoyments. I mean, animals like to play if they're left to their own devices. Wolves are out with their cubs. It's just, you can see animals having fun. A crow will go up to the top of a snow-covered roof and have a little plastic lid and slide down for fun, or go up in a wind current and then keep doing it over and over again for the sheer joy of it. Dolphins will play. Dolphins call to each other using this whistle language. And the dogs in your own home, the average dog knows 300 words of the human language without being taught one, because, as you say, we've taken over everything.
Yeah.
And they have to pay attention to us, because it's up to us whether they get a drink of water or if they get out to relieve themselves. And they'll try to communicate in other ways. They'll bring us a leash, or they'll scratch at the door, or they'll bark to say, someone's coming, you can't hear them, but I can. They'll jump on the bed and say, get up, it's time, there's a fire in the house.
Right.
And we have to be more respectful of their abilities, and they're smart.
Sure. Let's go to the other side of the book now. Let's talk about how we can make animals' lives easier. What should we do? Are there, you mentioned there are innovations that are out right now. There are things that can help.
Yeah, it's fabulous. You can't really find fur anymore, which is wonderful. Retailers and designers don't use it. But they're also coming up with alternatives to wool, to cashmere, to mohair, because when you go into the shearing sheds in Australia, where most wool comes from, you see terrible cruelties. And the same with the goats and the rabbits used for these mohair and angora and so on. So companies are moving away from this sort of caveman fashion. And we've got apple leather and grape leather and cactus leather. We've got, faux shearling these days. We've got natural fibers. That's grand. Vegan foods are everywhere. You've got soy milk and rice milk and almond milk, you name it, vanilla, chocolate. We've got things like the Beyond Burger, even in Dunkin' Donuts or Hardee's. It's easy now to eat and to clothe yourself without taking anything from an animal. Because often it's never voluntary, but it usually means that in the end they're going to be killed, and there's no need for that. But even with cosmetics, with experimentation, with dissection, fabulous alternatives. We have a synthetic frog now that teachers are using. You cut up, it doesn't smell, doesn't have formaldehyde, no guts that you can dangle in front of some poor little girl to frighten them. And you're not taking frogs out of the pond. So, we've got, I think, 4,500 cruelty-free companies now that make shampoos, floor cleaners. They don't put them in a rabbit's eye. So you just have to know what to look for, get the lists from PETA.org or from the book, and you can make a huge difference with the power of your purse, your consumer dollars.
You mentioned dissecting a frog. I remember having to do that in high school, and it was the worst experience of my life. I absolutely hated doing that. It was just awful.
Yeah.
Ms. Newkirk, what did you learn from this book? Is there anything that surprised you in this book as you were doing it?
Oh, there were tons of things. I learned, for example, that reindeer have the natural equivalent of sunglasses. Their eyes are blue in winter, but they turn yellow in summer, and they see an ultraviolet light. And when it's winter, which it often is, I mean, the sun isn't out where they live, they manufacture their own vitamin D. So things like that fascinated me. I learned that sheep can recognize faces from photographs, that elephants use their trunk as a snorkel when they go swimming, and they love to swim. They'll swim up to 30 miles if they can. And I learned that animals have amazing ways of navigating from one place to another, thousands of miles, by using the position of the stars, the Earth's magnetic field. Even squirrels will bury nuts by the Earth's magnetic field or the position of the stars. Fascinating things.
Mm-hmm. Right. Hey, tell me about Gene Stone. Who is he?
Gene is a great writer. He's collaborated on a number of books like Forks Over Knives, which many people have heard of or have seen the film of Forks Over Knives, and Michael Greger's books, How Not to Die. Mm-hmm. And he's fond of animals, so we thought we were a perfect match. We would get together and write it as one person.
There we go. Good. Animalkind is out, and where do we get it, and where should we go to find out more?
Please go to PETA.org if you need anything whatsoever that we can help you with about animals. But Amazon.com, of course, has Animalkind, and any of the places where you buy online, since most of us are not going to bookstores, and those bookstores are now closed.
Mm-hmm, right. Well, hopefully they'll be open at some time soon. That would be very nice. Right. Ms. Newkirk, what are you with PETA now? You're the founder or co-founder of it, but what is your role with PETA now? Are you the executive director emeritus or something, or are you just... what?
No, I work every day.
Yeah?
I come to work every day. I am the president of PETA. And I think that's the title you give to someone who gets all the jobs no one else wants to do.
There we go. Ms. Newkirk, I know I have to let you go, but I have enjoyed talking with you, and I look forward to seeing the book. I haven't seen it yet. I'm looking forward to it. Now that you've told me so much about it, I think I can learn a lot from this. So
Thank you, and I think you'll love the cover. The cover is full of animal photographs, color photographs of animals, and it's got sad stories in it. I hope you enjoy it.
I'm sure I will. Ms. Newkirk, I thank you for some time out. Hope we can talk again sometime down the line here.
Thank you. Would love it.
Take care. Bye now.
Bye.
Ingrid Newkirk is the author of Animalkind, Remarkable Discoveries about Animals and Revolutionary New Ways to Show Them Compassion. She is the founder of PETA, and we caught up with her outside of Washington, D.C. And that will do it for the 38th edition of Conversation Collage. Thank you for taking part and listening. We hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. If you would, we'd appreciate a review and a rating on the podcast platform if you can do so. And at the very least, tune in for the next edition and tell your friends that we're here, because we'd love to get more people involved in this. And be sure and like us on Facebook. Check us out there, and also on Instagram at Conversation Collage Podcast. Again, thank you for listening. Catch us next time. Ken Joannesen here. Be good to yourself.